Hey guys, Jeff with Westcott Designs. So we finished up this 2023 GX460. This thing's sick. It's awesome. Like, we love it. And then to get to drive it and test drive it, kind of a couple things. So we actually did, on a lot of these trucks, most all these trucks that are out there, if you do not change the overall length of the shocks and add length to them, you don't need to change the brake lines on these trucks. So if they're still running stock length on the shocks or stock shocks or struts, you don't need to change the brake lines. On this truck, we added a little more height to it. So we did do a longer, 1 inch longer shock. So at that point we did longer brake lines. With this, we have a bleed system that we're able to hook up, a vacuum system, and force feed all the air out of the brake lines on this. But with doing so, we had an error code go up on the dash for the ABS system, which then we had to take it down to the dealership. We actually trailered it down to the dealership. Actually, I trailered it down to the dealership, and we had to hook it up on the tech stream down there to clear the codes and actually recalibrate everything. So I just want you guys to, I don't know if it's always going to happen, if it was a fluke thing, but this situation, this time it happened, and that's what we had to do. It actually, the brakes worked, but it was like it had no power brakes at all. It was like manual brakes on this thing. So I just want to bring that to your attention. If you're thinking of switching brake lines, going to longer shock, those are things to think about, that maybe this happens and maybe you have to get it towed down the dealership, or maybe you have a tech stream, which I doubt that because it's something Toyota and Lexus have as a tool. So we did this victory front bumper. This victory front bumper, we just did a recent video on it, talking about the sensor locations on it and how the hole is a bit larger for the sensor. We're able to press out the grommet for the sensor out of the factory front grille, and then attach it on the back of here. We kind of, in our video, show how we did that, just to kind of give you some ideas. If you're gonna run this bumper and you wanna make the sensors look as factory clean as possible, this worked out really well on this. This Victory front bumper is aluminum, and I'm telling you, it's super, super nice. The welds on it, just the way it was built, the way it forms, the way it works is super cool. I was super impressed with the quality and the way it was done. We did do a Xeon 10S on this. So this has the Bluetooth capability for the phone application. This has a synthetic rope, super well done, super clean install. You can see that you can reach the clutch in it if you need to put it on free, but really brings up the ground clearance in the front of the truck. We pretty much did all the suspension on this truck as well. We did the Baja here, the Baja light. It's got the backlighting, the amber backlighting on it as well. So I kind of got off onto the suspension, didn't mention the lights on the front. This got the AccuTune Fox 2.5s with Resis, with the adjusters on it, with the AccuTune upper control arms, with their caps and their ball joints. And then you can see back here in the bumper, it actually comes with hardware to relocate or pull the fender liner back, which it worked out really clean. It still gets to retain the fender liner, keeps from getting any kind of mud or dirt up behind there in the back. Really makes it nice to be able to do that. And then in the back here, we did our body mount chop. You can kind of see how nice that came out. We're super OCD about that stuff. We actually go back and we grind all the weld out of it, or not grind it all out, but we grind it smooth, and then we go back and we primer it, and then we actually paint it, and we try to blend it in with the frame there, but just to make it really nice. Those are one of the things that we do, that we really focus on, because we want it to look like it has been altered, or if we have altered it, that it actually looks better than it did from the factory. So some of that. I got these SCS wheels. We've got a 285 70/17 on that. I think this is a plus 12 offset on this. Oh, excuse me, it's a -10, plus 12, negative, it's a -10. So you can see just on the offset, it's pretty flush with the wheel well. Just got the crown of the tire off the side there, sticking out of the wheel well. But that also, when you're running a wheel like that, so it's more inward instead of outward, it allows for a lot more room in the fender well for getting a tire in there and not having rubbing issues, especially even with articulating the tire and getting it stuffed up in the wheel when you're doing so. We did our rock sliders on this. These are our 0 degrees with top plates, our TIG welded DOMs. With this rock slider, it's got the kick out. and we trimmed the lower door garnishment molding. Actually, this was actually part of the molded step, and we go back and we use a lot of that back into the side. So when it's on the car, it fills that gap down underneath the door, makes it look super clean. We come back in and we trim all the front out here, try to make it really nice and smooth. The transition really nice on that. And then back here where it kicks out, kind of follows, and the kick out actually falls back into underneath the body there. And these are direct bolts on directly to the frame on this truck. So just really clean details on some of that stuff. And that's some of the things that I'm trying to focus on, showing you guys this. And then the rear suspension on this is again is the AccuTune 2.5s with the DSC with adjusters, remote reservoirs. You can see they're mounted up here, and they're very easy to access for make adjustments, fine tune. And then as far as the rear spring on this, is it the Toy Tech? The Icon rear springs. We did the Icon 2-inch rear springs in the back of this. You can see it's got a slight rake to it, and then we've also put the gear back in the back of the car, so it's probably up another 1/4 to 1/2 inch with the stuff if you took it out of the back. So it does have a slight rake on it, but we didn't obviously want to put too much adjustment in the front coilovers on these, and still wanted to make the suspension so it worked really well and had nice smooth ride. Obviously, when you're driving a 23 GX, we want to make sure that we're not tearing it up too much here and compromising it. A roof rack. We talk about our roof racks a lot. We feel that our roof racks, we've put a lot of time and engineering in them, and we've really focused on trying to get the air to keep from getting underneath the roof rack and trying to keep it super tight against the windshield of the car, so we get the air to flow over the car. That's why we actually match the angle up through the visor to help get the airflow up and over the car, and not actually through the bars on it and create wind noise or whispering, and just trying to eliminate any kind of wind noise, especially on a vehicle like this. I mean, the last thing you want when you buy a luxury vehicle like this is the wind noise to be bothering you while you're driving it. So you can see it's super tight gap along the side here, flows right all the way to the back. We've actually matched the back edge of the car up the back of the roof rack here. The roof rack doesn't take away from function of the sunroof on this at all. We've got our bottle opener here in the rear corner, which is another one of our signatures, our stainless steel bottle openers. All our hardware is stainless steel. When we black oxide coat it, we actually make the brackets separate on the back here so we can get it as tight as possible. And then the brackets that we actually use are steel, and we actually bend them on a 90, so they'll actually take the maximum amount of downward force before they actually bend. It just allows us to get more usability and to get the rack set the way we want it to. So this car, I mean, it's beautiful. I really wanted to share that with you guys on how it came out. We'll be doing a new rear tire swing on this next. The customer actually asked, hey, is there any way that I could get your very first rear hatch ladder on this? And I said there's a good possibility. I mean, it's a perfect vehicle to do it on. So he may end up getting our very first rear hatch ladder on this. So again, I appreciate you guys watching this and hope you guys enjoy it. And if there's things that you guys want to see or talk about, please reach out to us, and we'd love to maybe do some in-depth videos on some of the stuff that's important to you guys or that you're looking for, or some tips or helpful things that would be good for you. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.